Let's now welcome Dr. Sam Koma, who is a governance expert, to weigh in on these bills. Doctor, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. So, just for the benefit of some those who might find this a bit difficult to understand, maybe take us through what exactly do these bills then seek to do, and how does it directly affect citizens, businesses, as well as those municipal entities?
Yes, thanks, Alicia, for the opportunity. So the Public Procurement Act basically incorporates some aspects of the preferential procurement policy framework, the PPF, which was a legislation that was put in place, but more catering for the advancement of the historically disadvantaged individuals, Black women, Black people, women, people with disabilities. We had that legislation
in the country. Doctor, welcome back. We lost you there for a second. Please continue with your response in terms of just basically making us understand in layman terms what this bill seeks to achieve.
Yes, thanks, Alicia, once again. So the Public Procurement Act now provides for what they call set-asides for bids that accommodates a category of persons, namely Black people, Black women, youth, women, people with disabilities, and also Black people with disabilities. So it's more inclusive in that manner. But I was saying earlier that aspects of these set-asides were already part of the preferential procurement policy framework, the PPF, which will now cease to exist, or it will be repealed as a result of the enactment and also the proclamation of the Public Procurement Act. This Public Procurement Act also incorporates some aspects of the Public Finance Management Act, which deals, of course, with issues of public procurement, and also the Municipal Finance Management Act. So it now applies to all organs of state, including state-owned enterprises, the public enterprises, national governments, the provinces, and also the municipalities. So it covers that part, but also there are other aspects of the law or the legislation that speaks to the establishment of a tribunal, which would be more of an alternative dispute resolution mechanism that is put in place in the event a contractor is aggrieved by the outcome of a particular adjudication, can refer that particular matter to the tribunal that is going to be set up solely to deal with issues of disputes and also resolve on this particular disputes. But I also wanted to add that this particular law falls short of two significant recommendations that were made by the State Capture Commission on Public Procurement. So the State Capture Commission recommended that there should be a public procurement professional body that will house all officials dealing with public procurement throughout the public sector. They will be vetted. They will also be, they will have to adhere to a code of conduct, and also that body will have the power to impose sanctions against any defaulting official or practitioner or professional that is part of the body. The second recommendation made by the State Capture Commission was that Parliament should establish a public procurement anti-corruption agency that would be politically insulated from ministerial control or control of a department. So if we look at the Public Procurement Act, it's silent on the two recommendations that were made by the State Capture Commission as an attempt to ensure that we have a public procurement system that is free from political influence, political patronage, and also corruption.
Very interesting indeed, and thank you for that clarity, Doctor, there, because I'm sure you saw the package preceding our interview there. A lot of views from different sectors, whether it be business or personal, and a lot of some were for as well as against the bill. So The ones that are for are saying it's going to now provide employment for the smaller businesses, which is great news. And I think you mentioned the preferential procurement, which this bill actually seeks to eradicate. So talk to us about that. I mean, this is good news, but only if well and effectively implemented as well as enforced by the relevant authorities. Doctor, as you know, the saying goes that sometimes South Africa has the best policies that we just fail at in terms of execution. And looking at the bills then in their entirety, do you think there's a loophole to even try and make way for corrupt activities?
Yes. So, of course, as I said earlier, there will be a tribunal that is set up to deal with any dispute that may have an element of, say, fraud, corruption, or bribery, and all of that. So it's just an attempt on the part of the lawmakers to provide for this tribunal. Remember, there have been cases decided by the courts that invalidates, set aside some of these bids that have been duly awarded by some of the state institutions. So the jury is still out whether this legislation will assist in terms of curbing these high levels of corruption and unethical conduct on the part of the policy implementers. So the point you raised earlier, you're quite right. This is a noble piece of legislation. The only challenge in our context is commitment. Commitment on the part of the policy implementers to ensure that they fully comply with these specific provisions that are inserted in the legislation. Just like any other piece of legislation, we also need political will on the part of the political office bearers who are there to oversee and also to play an oversight role in the event there are instances where there is a need for accountability that needs to be provided and also consequence management. So that would be part of ensuring that at the end of the day, the small enterprise owners are able to fully benefit from these noble objectives that are provided for in the piece of legislation.
And Doctor, then does the bill say anything or speak to about payment upon delivery of services by the bidders, and also what technologies will be implemented in order to ensure, of course, that this is traceable on the government systems as well, so that even the public might even have a record of all the procurement as well as payments?
Yes, so you're right. So the legislation said there should be a public procurement system that is put in place. It's meant to be effective, efficient, and also provide for transparency in the manner in which these bids are handled, adjudicated, and of course processed by the various state entities or state institutions. So already there is that that these state institutions or these organs of state will ensure that, one, they revisit the existing procurement system that they have. They bring element of, as you rightly put it, technology moving into the digital space. And also we know that some provincial departments, the ones in Gauteng, they have moved digital in the manner in which they handle these bids and also the outcomes of this adjudicated bid. This should also be executed by the rest of the other state institutions in terms of ensuring that at the end of the day, this process is fair, transparent, and also there is value for money.